Hi, and welcome to CMPB's Speakers for Schools programme. Today, I'm going to be chatting to Graeme Grieve, who is the CEO of BMW UK. And basically, that means that he's the boss of BMW UK. So we're going to find out a little bit about what Graeme does and how he got to that position. So hi, Graeme.
Hello, how are you doing?
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for giving up your time today to chat to us.
My pleasure.
So can you tell us, Graeme, let's start first of all by what is it you do for a job? What does the boss of BMW UK do?
I wish I could answer that question. It's a pretty broad role. I mean, let's start with the company itself. So BMW, as some people maybe already be aware, we're a car manufacturer. So we have three brands in the group: BMW itself, Mini, and also Rolls-Royce. It's principally sales and marketing, and it's after sales to look after customers. It's managing the distribution network we have of dealers. So it ranges from everything from the cars we choose to bring into the UK, how they're specified and priced, which dealers we appoint to manage the customer relationships and deliveries, and the ongoing servicing and correcting any issues that we may have. So really trying to not only run a business and I hope make some money, but also keep our customers happy. And where we're really fortunate is all of those brands have really passionate owners who've really connected with a brand that's more than 100 years old. So, you know, my job is really just to kind of manage the team that's here in Farnborough. They're structured in various different disciplines with different skills and expertise. So my job is really just to try and bring that all together to make sure that our customers have the best possible experience with our brands.
Brilliant. Thank you. And so let's go back then to how did you get to where you are today? So from leaving school, tell us about your career journey.
Well, I think when I left school, I got some careers advice, which luckily I ignored. I was always really keen on science. So I actually spent nearly 10 years of my career working in the chemical industry. And during that time, I studied for my degree part-time. So that was really fun, and it was something I always wanted to do from being young. So I followed my passion. But then I hit a point where I was starting to get a little bit bored and wanted to do something a bit different. I'd always been a fascination for cars and motorcycles, and I was lucky enough to get the chance to join BMW, which was a complete shift of industry. And I had no relevant skills. But luckily at that time, the company was looking to bring in people that were enthusiastic and had different skills and disciplines to really kind of, I suppose, reinvent what we were doing as an industry and an organisation. So I actually came into BMW in 1990, so 31 years ago. And during that time, I've done various jobs in the UK. I've worked internationally, so Middle East, Southeast Asia, North America, spent 6 years in Munich, which is our headquarters, and then came back to the UK in 1994. So my journey's been one that's been based on luck more than anything else.
And so when you first joined BMW, what was your job then? What did you start as?
So I joined us, and it's a strange job. It's called Parts Zone Manager. So broadly, we have in the UK around 140 dealers. So they're the people that customers would normally see and interact. They're the showrooms and the workshops you'll see around. We've got Barron's here in Farnborough. And I was responsible for managing that relationship. So making sure they were delivering the customer performance, they were maintaining the kind of stock turn, the right technical service to customers. So broadly, I kind of a roving ambassador for BMW and making sure everyone was following the rules back in those days. Obviously, we've come on a long way now with systems and expertise and education and training. So everyone's now a lot more independent than they were back then. And then through various opportunities, I moved into different roles. So, you know, purchasing, finance, marketing, sales director, then moved to Rolls-Royce to do a global sales and marketing role, spent some time in Munich, I mentioned managing international markets, which was fascinating, because there you realise that it doesn't matter where you go in the world or whatever culture someone comes from, actually they're all pretty much the same. They're all motivated and driven by the same things. Yeah. And then got the opportunity to come back and, you know, essentially what will be finishing my career in the UK. So, you know, I always advocate to anyone I chat to about the future. It's always good to have a plan of what you want to try and achieve, but always be flexible, because sometimes plans lead to disappointment. So if you set a plan in a certain timeline, you don't get there. You know, there's no sense in being disappointed, the most important thing is have a goal, but then be very flexible. So, I've really responded to opportunities I've been given in my career rather than necessarily planned it, if that makes sense. So, I think it's really important you start your career in something that you're passionate about. If that's part of a clear pathway, all the better. But certainly when my own daughters were deciding on A-levels and then university, my guidance to them was always be, don't think about the job you want to do, unless you want to be a surgeon or an accountant. That's a bit different. But most of jobs in industry are multidisciplined and multi-skilled. So there's not necessarily a clear pathway. So pick something that really engages you and you feel a passion for, because that's how you're really going to excel. And most importantly, that's how you're going to build your confidence and an understanding of what you're good at. And I think whatever job you do, whether it's in commerce or manufacturing, the most important skill is being able to interface and work with people, relate to people, get their trust and confidence. That's, for me, that's far more important than a specific skill level or qualification, because so much of what we actually achieve through others rather than directly by what we do. So that's how it evolved for me, really. So I've been really lucky. I'm sort of coming towards the end of my career now, but I've had a great time, a lot of fun, and made some really good friends.
And really interesting to hear that you sort of left school and focused on science, but actually you slowly then found what you wanted to do and found your interest and progressed from there. And also interesting to hear that you sort of started in a parts sort of side, but you've actually then covered all sorts of sectors of the BMW company, which is effectively how it's got you to where you are today.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. It depends on career path quite often, doesn't it? If you want to be a neurosurgeon, then you probably have a fairly discrete linear career progression. But most jobs aren't like that. Particularly if you look at jobs in industry and commerce, it's really good to have touched many different areas of the business, particularly when you get to the CEO role. I couldn't necessarily go and do everyone's job, but at least I can understand what they do and where the stresses are and the challenges.
And so what do you think then you found most rewarding in your career so far?
I think the most rewarding thing for me always comes down to people. So I've worked with some great people. We've got people in this organisation that I knew, 25 to 30 years ago. Our current marketing director first started as a graduate in my team. Back in the early noughties, as we say, the early 2000s. So it's seen people grow and develop in the organisation. And it's seen people deliver some amazing things. We an average year we have 25 graduates, undergraduates coming to spend a year with us, and they're always amazing. They come in slightly intimidated because they don't know what's involved, but hugely competent in what they do, and you see how they develop during that year. And by the end of 12 months, they can run the job that they're doing, and you can see just how much confidence they've grown and developed during that period. So I don't want to labour it, but for me, seeing people grow is by far and away the best reward. I mean, I've been some amazing places in the job I've done as well. I'm not going to undermine the fun factor, but also, I get a really good chance to engage with customers, and not always if they've got a challenge. We have a number of events that we run that engage with customers, things like the BMW PGA at Wentworth or British touring car racing and stuff like that. And you get the chance to meet with the people who are driving our products, and you realise how passionate and really how much they're in love with the car. Unfortunately, they quite often know more than me technically, and expect me to know every single detail. But for me, that the whole people aspect, whether it's seeing your team develop, it's where the challenges that you work on with your colleagues, or it's just having a chance to engage with customers. They're for me they're the real special moments.
Yeah. And so you spoke a little bit about the undergraduate scheme. So I guess a company like BMW will offer things like this to the local community, that local school students, undergraduate scheme, also apprentice scheme and things like that. There's probably so many opportunities within BMW for people that are thinking of getting into that sort of sector.
Yeah, there are, and across the industry as well. Quite often the car industry and the motor industry gets misjudged. It's all about car sales. It's actually not. Clearly car sales is at the end of the process chain, but there are some great opportunities, whether it's in our business as a manufacturer and distributor and marketing company, or it's within the retailer network. Probably our most highly skilled individuals are the technicians who work in the cars in the dealerships. The technology on the cars now is mind-blowing. It's more about electronic engineering and programming than it is about mechanical repair. So there are many different career paths that people can follow within the industry. And the great thing, reflecting back on what we said earlier about doing different things, you see a lot of people in our business, they will have experiences in many different areas around the industry. So they really have a good overview of everything that's going on. It's a good chance to, if you're slightly unsure of the where you want to be in 25 years, you can't make a wrong decision, because you can move from one area to the other. You can even change manufacturers or change brands or whatever. So there's a really broad availability of opportunity, and not just for graduates, as you say, for school leavers and apprentice scheme, or in any of those areas.
Yeah, no, brilliant, thank you. And I mean, you must get some great perks, and you must obviously be able to drive some lovely cars. What's your car that you're driving at the minute, if you don't mind me asking?
It's BMW, naturally. It's a BMW M5. I'm a massive fan of M. So M is a sub-brand. It's run by a motorsport company. So it's a mid-sized saloon, which looks fairly subtle, but has a very significant amount of power. But also clearly the environment is a big focus of our agenda. So there is some hybrid technology, and I'm also keen on motorcycles. So I have a BMW GS Adventure, which is a big sort of cross-functional motorcycle. So, but nice. All of the products are great. And you're right, I think it's beyond the perk. When I leave the house and want to get in my car, I realise every morning why I do what I do.
Yeah. And what's been your biggest challenge, do you think, within your career?
I think there have been a number. I mean, if we think recently, Brexit was a big challenge for our industry. We have a very integrated production network. So, we have production in America, South Africa and Asia, but most of the production is UK and Europe. And therefore, the ability to move components across borders with no administration and no duties is really critical. A good example is we have an engine manufacturing plant in Hamstall near Birmingham, which makes 3 and 4 cylinder engines, which actually go into manufacturing in Germany. So the heart of many of the BMWs you see on the road is actually from Birmingham. That was really easy before Brexit, but now it's hung up with all sorts of process and inspections, and although it's essentially tariff-free, there's massive additional costs. So also people, because we have a lot of highly skilled technical people that are based in Europe that we need in the UK from time to time, short-term, medium-term. So that was a real challenge getting all that sorted. The COVID pandemic has been a real challenge for all of us, particularly those involved in the retail industry. But I think we've come through that really strongly. So we're in good shape there. And many other similar challenges over the years. I mean, the fortunate thing for me in the international roles that I've done, I've managed everything from literally governments collapsing to tsunamis. So you kind of get used to dealing with these topics and just relaxing into it's the wrong thing to say, but just being very confident that, if you're meticulous in how you plan and you've got the right people on the task, and it's properly steered and managed, everyone's got a clear goal, we will get through this stuff. And that's always kept us front foot.
What does your future hold then? You said you're sort of coming to the near end of your career.
Yeah, so I'm my career is drawing to a close. So I'm going to be retiring at the end of June, when I hit my 60th birthday. And then I'm going to have a really awesome 6 months doing all the stuff that I've never really had the time to do properly. So I'm going to be doing a lot of motorcycle touring in the UK, spending a lot of time with Dougie and Charlie, that are my 2 schnauzers and my wife, and really relaxing and having a sabbatical. And then January 22, no idea, I'll probably do something else. As I've said a number of times, I love watching people grow and develop. So I will probably do something in that area, but just on a on a personal basis and part-time basis. So I think it's important that, you know, you've got stuff that you enjoy doing, and I've loved my job. So it's very important for me that I continue to do stuff I enjoy. I don't entirely know what all of that will be yet, but it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, really exciting. Wow, 6 months off to just go and travel on a motorbike. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Do bits like that. So finally, have you got any advice for any school students that are making their choices, thinking about what they're going to do in the future?
I think the advice I'd give is, you know, you're going to get lots of input, you know, whether it's from, you know, it's from teachers, it's from parents, it's from friends or whatever. So, you know, do listen, because people do talk good sense generally, but form your own opinion. It can't always be easy if that goes against the advice you've been given, but it's important that what you choose to do, whether you go on to study further and what degree you choose, or whether you want to go into another form of higher education, or whether you're going to work, it's important that you do something that you think you're going to love. You know, you could be wrong, but, you know, life is long and you've got an opportunity to change. But I don't think there's anything worse than going into your first job or going into your first higher education and not liking it, because it kind of puts you off and it undermines your confidence. So first and foremost, pick something that you think you want to do. Secondly, give it a good go. You know, don't give up easily. Sometimes things take time to mature. And third is whatever you're doing, just think about the people you're doing it with, whether you're working with or studying with or being friends with, because that's the bit that when you get like me to the end of your career, you'll reflect back on. You won't think about the great tasks you completed or the amazing presentations that you've done. You think about the people that you've worked with, and how they've helped you get so much out of your career.
Oh, that's excellent. Thank you, Graeme. Thank you for that advice. It's absolutely brilliant. And thank you for your time today. It's been great to hear all about your job role.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.